Ladies and gentlemen, today I am so happy we have a stalwart of astrology, somebody who has contributed immensely from many angles for astrology to grow in the West. You might not be using his software, but being a Vedic astrologer, you need to also learn Western astrology. You need to see how systematic their approach is. He's going to talk about treasure maps today. But I want you all to hear from him his immense contribution to astrological softwares, institutions, and he has given more than 270 free video tutorials. Please welcome David G. Please welcome to Saptarishis Astrology. Along with Phyllis, I welcome you.
Thank you, Sunil. Thank you very much. You're very, very kind. Thank you so much. I'm really delighted to be here. It's just a wonderful experience.
It's our honor. It's our honor to have such a big personality in Saptarishis Astrology today.
Oh, thank you.
It is wonderful to see you. And it gives us an opportunity to acknowledge all the good things you've done for us little students sitting here. And acknowledge you were the first one who really worked in making sure that we knew our stuff.
Yes, I think what you're referring to is when I was president of ESAR, International Society for Astrological Research. And this was many years ago, and we had met at that time. We're showing our yes, exactly. And I helped institute they're voluntary standards, but they are standards to be professional, and some of the other organizations also have this. So that's one thing I've done along this long route in astrology. So to summarize, some of the main things that I've done that Sunil Ji has referred to are the software development, and also the development of a lot of astrological ideas. I've stolen some ideas from India. I've taken some, so we're allowed to do this. I took some ideas from Vedic astrology. I put them in a pot and I mixed them up with some Western ideas and harmonics and science, and I came up with this new concoction. And if nothing else, people find it interesting. People always say to me, "This is very interesting." Whether
this is good. Yeah. I'm glad that someone else has started, because that is what I'm starting to do too. So I will be looking at all your work. You may be sure.
What we want, one of the reasons, David G, we've been communicating with you from quite some time is I have seen Western astrologers have some fantastic techniques. Over a period of 15 years, I have seen they have absolutely miraculous techniques which can pinpoint very easily as compared to some of our Indian astrology techniques. So the time has come. What has happened is Westerners, they have embraced Vedic astrology, most of them, or many of them. Many of them. But we Indian astrologers have not embraced Western astrology. This is where I feel your contribution in our channel, and you have been doing this. But it is like reverse engineering. I want you to regularly come on our channel with folded hands. I request you, and teach us some simple, nice techniques, that we now start integrating in our Vedic astrology practice and software. So it's a revolution is what I seek. I've been trying to, for the last 1 year, I've been trying to get this done, but somehow it's not happened. Can you tell us a bit about your software? If you can just show us your software on the screen.
Yes, should I share my screen now?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so I'm going to click on share screen, and I will just click on this, I guess. Share screen. Okay, do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right, I'll close this window. This is the treasure map, by the way.
Oh.
This is a map of the United States. It has these yellow and red areas, and those yellow and red areas show you, you might say, hotspots, areas that are very important for different areas of life. Well, we'll get into this later. Let me give you a quick overview. This is our Sirius software, named after the fixed star Sirius. Well, what is the Vedic term for Sirius? That star, Sirius, the dog star?
I don't know.
Oh, no. Okay, well, the big dog star, it's very bright in the southern hemisphere. But anyway, our software is named after that star. We have another program called Kepler, which is essentially the same. Sirius includes every kind of astrology, like the ancient Western, which we call Hellenistic, lots of Vedic features. It just goes on and on and on. This is the main screen. I'll just give you a very rough idea. For example, if we click on, the maps, because that's what we'll be doing tonight. And we click on Astro Map, and there are all these different kinds of maps that you can select. We'll be looking at the treasure maps. What the treasure maps do is they bring together information about a topic you're interested in. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be looking at friendship and family. So we have love and romance, vocation and career. And the friendship and family, this is the one that uses ideas from Vedic astrology, specifically the Navamsa chart. And I want to show you how we integrate ideas from the Navamsa chart in a Western style. I'll explain this in a minute. And we come up with this integration. So what I've done is not really the common Western. I've done a lot of integrating ideas to make these things like the friendship and family map, which I'll show you what it looks like. This little map, this map takes a few seconds to calculate. There it is. Mm-hmm. And what it's showing is areas where a person feels comfortable, where they feel connected and bonded. Mm-hmm. And it's related to the Navamsa chart. I'll get into this in a little more detail. But to go back to the program overall, we have all these icons. For example, the Vedic section, you have many kinds of dasas, not just the Vimsatri dasas, but many kinds of dasas, Panchanga, Maharta, Ashtaka, Varga, Gochara, etc. We have a nice KP system, the Krishnamurti Padati system, etc. Doshas, all kinds of things. Mm-hmm. So, and all of these areas of the program are very deep with lots and lots of options. So what we've done with this software is to go into detail in every area of astrology. So it's not a Western program with a little bit of Vedic. It has a rich selection of Vedic features, Hellenistic, medieval, modern, Western psychological. So we've been working at this for decades. So that's the basic idea. Yeah, Phyllis.
Is it possible to have planets in a tropical zodiac and the Nakshatras in a sidereal zodiac? Combine them?
Yes, you can. I'll show you.
Just like you just fixed.
Yeah, so did everybody follow that question? It's an interesting idea to have the tropical zodiac and then Nakshatras sidereal. So I was using the word hybrid. Now there's a hybrid for you.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so what we can do for that is, just to give you one idea, is if I right-click on this wheel, I see these different wheel styles, and one of them is a nakshatra wheel. So here's a wheel with the nakshatras around the outside, and we made glyphs for them. So let's see, here's Aries. Yeah, and they kind of make sense, right? There's Aries, the horse, right, and Taurus, you know, and so on.
Yeah.
And we can put these nakshatras sidereal and the rest of it tropical, if we want to. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'll click OK to select this wheel, and then I'll go over here to settings, set my wheel to Zodiac to sidereal. Okay, now it's sidereal, and I can go into a customizing to tell it, oh wait, I don't want it sidereal. I want the wheel tropical. Let me go back to tropical, settings, tropical, and then there's a setting for this wheel style to tell it that I want the nakshatras to be sidereal. I have to go into the page designer. The page designer is a tool that allows you to design chart wheels. So I'm getting in very deep. We're going into, this is like going to graduate school before you finished high school, right? We're going into some very advanced parts of the program. But let me see if I can even find it myself. I'm going to right click on customize, and I go to the page designer. And the page designer allows me to design my own page, change fonts, put tables in there. I'll right click here, and I'll go to the wheel circles. See, this is a vast program. You get an idea of it, how massive this is.
The research that can be done on this is phenomenal.
Yeah, and your ability to customize, organize. So now I'm in this page designer. I go to the nakshatras, and let's see, always in sidereal zodiac. This may be very small, you know, when you capture this remotely. If you have difficulty reading this, it says always in sidereal zodiac, and it forces the nakshatras to be sidereal.
Okay.
So this is a lot to absorb, but just to give you the broad view, this is a huge program with a tremendous amount of customizing that you can do. Now I'm going to click on done, and now let's see if we click on yeah, you already see that the area, that the first nakshatra is over here. Let me click done here. So here's our first nakshatra. This is Ashvini, right?
Yes.
So we gave it like a horse head shape, and it's over here in late Pisces because the sidereal zodiac is about 23 or 24 degrees earlier. So we're seeing Ashvini in the tropical sign of Pisces. So this is the sidereal signs with a tropical zodiac, exactly what you were asking about. And here you can see it in a wheel. So there's, I mean, we've just jumped into one very technical, specific, unusual thing, but this is fun, right? So we're just exploring all the kinds of things you can do in the software. And I'll save this.
David, thank you very much, and I promise I won't ask any more questions, but you certainly answered. You answered completely, and good. I will be playing with this tomorrow.
Now this is good because it gives the people watching this an idea that there's, you know, we're all dependent on software, aren't we? I mean, nobody's calculating charts by hand, and there's so many wonderful programs written all around the world. And so these are our important resources. And so it's nice for people to know, oh, there's this program that comes out of the United States that is very rich in Vedic as well as Western, and it does have this beautiful things you can do like this. But it will take us years to go over the software, but that gives us a quick sense of what it's like.
Well, thank you ever so much, because the research that is available in this, having this flexibility, is the sky's the limit. No pun intended.
Yeah. Well, Sunil mentioned that we have 270 videos, so we have a lot of videos that describe different parts of the software, so people can look at that. Shall we look at treasure maps now?
Yeah, but before that, David, I wanted to ask you, you are also associated with the Avalon School of Astrology.
Yes.
And do they teach only Western astrology or also Vedic astrology?
Well, right now at Avalon, we have just one program that I'm teaching, and it's what I call Vibrational Astrology, which is a system that I use, which is based on this idea of that there are vibrations. It's similar to the idea of the Vargas. In fact, the Navamsa chart and the Saptamsa chart are vibrational charts. They're the vibration of 9, and the Saptamsa chart is the vibration of 7. You know, some of the Vargas are not the same as what we call in the West harmonic charts, but the Navamsa chart is the 9th harmonic chart, and the Saptamsa chart is the 7th harmonic chart. So they are what I would call vibrational charts or harmonic charts. They're showing those beats. So, for example, let's if we look at a Navamsa chart, which is the same as a 9th harmonic chart, if I'm just selecting a harmonic chart, if two planets are conjunct, if they're together in the Navamsa chart or 9th harmonic chart, it's the same thing. It means they're a multiple of 40 degrees apart, right? And so one of the things we're doing in vibrational astrology is we're looking at these angular distances of when planets are 40 or 80, 120 or 160 degrees, multiples of 40 degrees. And in the Navamsa chart, they would typically be in the same sign. But this is where we're combining the idea of Navamsa chart with the Western idea of putting an emphasis on angular distances. So the bottom line is this, in this vibrational astrology. If two planets are 40 degrees apart, or 80 degrees apart, 1/9 or 2/9, or 3/9, which is also 1/3, or 4/9, 160, they blend together in this beautiful way. The 9th harmonic chart creates bonding and integration, and it creates connectedness. You know, when you teach a child to say thank you, right? You're saying there's more to the world than just you. You know, be aware that you're part of a community, you're part of a family. And that sense of a family and connectedness with your environment, to me, is the essence of the Navamsa chart. Okay. I think that's why it's so important for marriage, because in the Vedic tradition, we often relate marriage to having children, being part of the community. So it's how we get out of our isolated, singular life and become part of the community. And also spiritual path, because it's where we feel whole and healthy. And it's hard to develop spiritually if you don't feel bonded and connected in a more immediate way with the world around you. So what we do with the treasure map is we find out when planets are 40 degrees or 80 degrees and 60 degrees from what we call the relocated ascendant and midheaven. Okay. And these are spots you feel at home. So have you ever traveled around and you go from one village to another, and you get to a village and you feel comfortable there? You just feel like, oh, I could live here. That's the Navamsa feeling. You feel at home. You feel in your element. You may not feel inspired, you know, like you're going to be reach a transcendental awareness. You just feel this is this place to be. That's the feeling of the Navamsa chart. And what we found in our research is that when planets are 40 or 80 degrees from the ascendant or midheaven, these angular cusps, the beginning of the Kendra houses, these, you know, using, you know, the cusps, these are the comfort zones. That's the basic idea. And these are places where you're happy to live.
Okay.
So I could do your charts. enter your data real quickly and show you how it would work for you.
Sure.
So Phyllis, should we do your chart? You're not private about your information, are you?
Oh, or you can use my chart. I'm okay. I'm absolutely okay.
Or Sunil?
Yeah, that's fine.
Either.
Okay, so
Do you have either chart?
I don't think I do. Let me see if one of you is in here. No, I don't think so.
Well, when we met, I wasn't Chubb. It was that long ago.
Okay. All right. So, no, I don't have either one. So,
11th
Sunil,
May.
let Sunil go.
okay, we'll do Sunil. Okay, what is the date?
11th May, 1973.
Okay, May 11, 1973, and the time?
9:46 a.m.
9:46 a.m.
Mumbai.
In Bombay, as we say in America. Okay, so I've just entered that May 11, 1973, 9:46 a.m., Bombay, India. And so there it is in the tropical zodiac. It's the 12 degrees Cancer. In the sidereal or Vedic zodiac, it would be a Gemini Lagna. So what I'll do, it doesn't matter whether I do this in tropical or sidereal, because I'm going to be looking at angular distances. Now, what would happen if instead of being born in Bombay, you were born in another city?
Mm-hmm.
If you were born in London or Tokyo or somewhere else in India,
Mm-hmm.
if a baby was born at the same moment that Sunil was born, that same moment, the time of the clock would be different, but they were born at the same moment somewhere else, all the planet positions are identical. The only thing that changes are the houses, right? So I think that, this is the fundamental idea of relocational astrology.
The ascendant will change.
The ascendant will change. Yeah, the ascendant will change. And so if you move to a place, here's the idea of relocational astrology, is if we move to a place where the ascendant would be, say, conjunct Venus, then that's an extremely Venusian place for you, where all the power of the blessings of Venus are bestowed upon you by moving to a place where the ascendant would be on Venus. You can think of it this way. If you were born in a place where you would have Venus rising, by going to that place, you pick up the energy of that. Okay. And that's what a map shows you. Let me go ahead and select a map. So I'll go to maps. And first I'll do a simple map. And let's do it for India. So over here I can select the place. So I'm going to select India. And I'll just do a simple map. We call it just lines. Just for teaching purposes, this is nice. And what this is saying is that if Sunil was born over here in Southeast Asia, near Ho Chi Minh, Vietnam, you would have had Jupiter opposite the ascendant, or in other words, on the descendant. Opposition the Lagna, right there in the beginning of the 7th house, if you were born here. So when you visit these places, or if you do business in these places, you don't even have to go there. Any connection you have will bring Jupiter on the 7th. So this is great for advertising. It's great for promotion. It's great for expansion. It's great for meeting a lot of people, conferences, anywhere along this line. That's the idea of relocational.
I'm very bad at maps with the geography part, but I have a question. Since we are this yellow line, Jupiter, where would Moscow come?
Okay, Moscow is going to be up to the west. Well, I'll right-click to change the settings, and what I can do is I can put Moscow Moscow, Russia, right?
Yeah.
Is what you're asking? We're going to put Moscow, Russia, right in the middle of the map. So I can select a city and put it right in the middle of the map, or I can select a country.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just select Moscow, and it's right here, very close to Mars on the midheaven. Now, here's the thing that's exciting that we found out, is that if we use other angular distances, like 40 degrees, if Mars is 40 degrees, or any planet is 40 degrees from the ascendant, the Lagna position, or the midheaven position, or the points opposite, they're harmony places. They're places that are beautiful and smooth. So if I right-click and I select Treasure Map, and the friendship and family, that's going to find these Navamsa spots, these places which are so harmonious and sweet that people usually live, if they move from where they were born, they usually will move to one of these sweet spots because life works for you there.
Okay.
Things will just be comfortable. So doing this part of Russia, we find a line going right, two lines going right through Moscow. Look at this. This is Venus. Down here it says Venus 40 degrees.
Oh.
And that's the label for this red. Red is the middle of the line, and it goes right exactly. I mean, it goes right through the dot, right through Moscow. So this means that the Venus 40 degrees is the sweetest combination that you can get.
Okay.
It's the best. So now Moscow may not be a sweet place, or maybe it is a sweet place. We can't change Moscow. So, if a place is not very sweet, the astrology is not going to change the place. I mean, you have to be realistic. But let's say 5 of your friends go to Moscow, and they're similar to you. Maybe they're all astrologers, they have similar interests. Among those 6 people that go, you are going to like Moscow more than your friends.
Okay.
Because you have the Venus 40 degrees.
Yeah.
Going right through it. So relative to what we can expect for that part of the world, it works nicely for you. It works very nice because every city has beautiful, sweet people and beautiful gardens and not so sweet things. So even if a place is not as beautiful, with Venus at 40 degrees, you attract it, you draw it out. So is that why you asked about Moscow? Why did you ask?
Yeah, because my teaching career, I started with Moscow. Yeah. And before I taught internationally, before that, I started my first online program with Russia, and especially a lot of students were from Moscow.
Yes.
So it has a special connection for me, because
yes.
I used to keep a lot of techniques hidden, very shy by nature, so internally. So, but here I finally opened up and found several, family here in a way, kind of astrological family.
Yes.
One question to you. Okay, also incidentally, because I presume it's a Venus line, right?
Yes.
Most of our students were ladies.
Yes.
Ladies. I have one question. Above Moscow, there is this strong red line going. What is that?
The one above it?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, this one above it, which is stronger, is Moon sextile, Lagna, above it. Now, the reason we made it red which means stronger, is because most astrologers in the West would consider the sextile, which is 60 degrees, to be much more important than what they would call a minor aspect of 40 degrees. So to agree with the way most astrologers think, we gave this more weight, more emphasis, and it comes out darker. But I don't agree with that. I find that the Navamsa, these 40-degree multiples, are very, very powerful, and it's very difficult to say what is stronger. The sextile brings more friendly communication, and it feels like home, and it's friendly. The Venus brings more sweetness. So you started your teaching there, your international teaching. A lot of your students were women, but a lot of them were drawn to it because they felt it was sweet. They felt it was nice. They felt that this Indian gentleman is very nice, and they want to get the information and the knowledge, but they felt drawn to it. Like it's something good. They felt that this is good. It's not some like black magic astrology kind of thing. And it's the kindness and the sweetness that they're drawn to, and why you were successful. Now, you probably have other things in Moscow as well. We're just looking at these kind of Navamsa and other kinds of home feelings and bonding. But there it is, going right through Moscow. Let me say one more thing. If we didn't use this combination of Vedic astrology, emphasis on Navamsa, with a Western emphasis on angular distances and the house cusps, you know, exactly where Lagna is. And a lot of times in Vedic astrology, we look at Lagna, but we don't look at the midheaven as much, you know, as a point. So here we're looking at the midheaven, which is a Western idea. We're looking at Lagna, which is important in all astrology. And we're using angular distances, which is emphasized more in the West, but we're using some of the angular distances we're using are taken from Vedic. So by pulling little bits and pieces from these different wisdom traditions, we come up with something that works. My students, and we've done some like controlled research with these things, not just anecdotal evidence, and it's very exciting. I would just fascinating.
I'm thrilled, absolutely thrilled.
I have a question to ask here, David G. Is this is, I can be wrong, but I feel this is far different than astrocartography, correct?
It's far different because if I right click, it's a very good question. I'm glad you asked that. I can do the astrocartography, as we pronounce it in the West. We can go here to just lines and a basic map. This is the astrocartography, is conjunctions and oppositions only. There's another technical detail I can talk about later in Mundo versus longitude, but anyway, we'll talk about that later. And the astrocartography doesn't have very many lines, and it's just showing these points where the planet is on these cusps. And what our research is showing is that there's a lot more. You're missing all the color, all the richness. We're missing that beautiful Venus 40 degrees going through Moscow. And you've developed an astrological family. You have a bond there. It's not just technical. It's not just data. You're sharing. This is a soulful study, and you make a soulful bonds with people. Yeah. And something very beautiful happens when we go to the friendship and family map, and we see that. So yes, it's very different from astrocartography because it brings in all this additional information.
So the previous map you showed, in that there is no line going through Moscow as per astrocartography. Right. But as per treasure maps, it's going in Moscow.
Exactly. So here's the astrocartography map. Shows only Mars east of Moscow and here's the friendship and family. And you'll see there's just a lot more information. So there are things going on throughout the world that are missed. They're just not found. Now, I'm not criticizing astrocartography. We stand on the shoulders of giants, right? Without astrocartography, we don't have this. Okay. And hopefully 50 years from now, somebody's going to be saying, oh, David Cochrane's treasure maps, we're way beyond that now. I hope so, right? So we hope that our children do better than us. So we're just building upon what Jim Lewis and the other people who developed astrocartography did. Yeah, Phyllis, I see you're got a question coming.
Oh, I wasn't going to ask any more questions, but I got lost. The way this treasure map is working, I would wonder if you have a visual of synastry, of chart comparison. There may be something similar to this. Yes,
I've made a video about that, how you can do synastry with astromaps. Well, I'll give you one idea.
No, we can do another video on that, Philip.
Yeah, we'll do another video on that. Yeah.
That would be wonderful, wonderful. I do. We will keep you occupied for the duration of this tour.
I feel is it possible, David G, for you to explain this 40-degree Naumann once again?
Okay. Yes. Very good point. Well, let's pull up Barack Obama, former president of the United States. Okay. If you're familiar with American politics, you know we have a Republican Party and a Democratic Party.
Yeah.
And the Democratic Party is more like socially supporting, and from the Republican viewpoint, they think they're indulgent. You know, they indulge people too much. So they're more like the social network and social supporting party. So the Democrats, like Obama and Bill Clinton, they have all these Navamsa aspects, because Navamsa is the aspect of community and support. And it is true that the negative side of Navamsa is it doesn't want to say no. It wants to help people. You know, when a beggar asks you for money and you think, oh, if I give him the money, he'll just buy a drug with it, right? So you can't always just help people. It doesn't really help them. So, but if you look at Obama's sun, it's at 12 degrees Leo. This is tropical zodiac. So in the Vedic chart, it would be Cancer. But I'm going to be talking about angular distances. So the zodiac doesn't matter. Sun is 12 degrees Leo. Mars is 22 degrees Virgo, right? How many degrees is it from 12 Leo to 22 Virgo?
34? Oh, no, that is 12.
Well, 12 Leo to 12 Virgo would be 30. And then another 10.
40.
40. The magic number. 40. You know, you see it show up in mythology all the time, 40 days and 40 nights. And,
right.
You know, 40 is also related to 9. 9 times 40 is 360. 9, you know, in the Catholic religion, you pray to Mary for 9 days.
Yeah.
Because 9 is associated with the Great Mother.
Yeah, even here, in the next 2 days, the Navratri will start for Durga, goddess Durga. That is again 9 days.
Yeah.
Mother, she's the mother. So again,
she's the mother. So it doesn't matter if you say Durga or you say Mary, it's 9. It's the Great Mother. And so Obama has Sun and Mars exactly 40 degrees. This is 12 Leo, 33 minutes. Mars is 22 degrees, 35 minutes. Now I'll go to the sidereal zodiac just because a lot of our viewers are Vedic astrologers, and of course it doesn't matter. It's still 40 degrees. It's just Cancer and Leo. So it doesn't matter whether you're sidereal or it doesn't matter what Ayanamsha you're using. We're talking about angular distances.
Right.
So Sun and Mars, Those are the two action planets. We all agree about that, you know, especially Mars. So what does Obama do? He is an activist. He before he became president, he did social programs in Illinois. So these people who are active community, trying to get something done for the community, have these Navamsa aspects. And if you look at his vice president, Joe Biden, same thing. Bill Clinton, same thing. I can bring up all their charts. They all have the same thing. Okay. And you pull up the Republicans, they don't have it. So, you know, without this information, you miss the whole story. You're missing what's going on. So again, I'm taking the idea of Navamsa, which is built on multiples of 40. But instead of just looking at the sign, like in Vedic astrology, we look at the sign, the Navamsa, and we might compare it to the normal Rasi sign and say, you know, you have Vargotama or something. But instead of doing that so much, we're looking at the angular distance.
So you're taking two planets.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're taking two planets, and if they have a distance exactly of 40, those two planets is what you're catching.
Those two planets are connected with the energy of the Divine Mother. And by that, what I mean is, I don't mean just sweet mother. I mean the force that brings healing and connectedness and bonding. And you know, we can look at you know, Joe Biden, who was his vice president, and you'll see the same kinds of things. And if you look at Bernie Sanders, who was an, you know, a more fanatical sort of ninth harmonic, he has Mars and Uranus and these kinds of things active. So you get the real intense passion for building community. So, and then what we're doing in the relocational astrology with the treasure maps is we're seeing when planets come into these 40-degree distances from the Lagna or the midheaven or the opposite points. Because these points, the Lagna point, you know, the ascendant point as we call it in the West, the opposite, descendant, and also the midheaven, not used as much always in Vedic astrology, but I think that's one thing, like you were saying, we can learn from each other. I think is that this midheaven is very important in the opposite point. When planets move 40 degrees away from those, these points are ultra powerful. They're incredibly powerful. We have ideas that related to physics where it shows that these have the power of the whole sky. And when a planet is 40 or 80 or 160 degrees from that, it creates a very strong connection. Okay. So, yeah.
So here, if I can understand, you know, his Sun and Mars, they should be aspecting his Lagna or midheaven.
If he moves to a place where Sun and Mars are aspecting the ascendant or the midheaven, then his drive to get something done in community is enhanced. He will get a lot done. So he will succeed in his social programs. If he's in a place where, suppose the midheaven was 40 degrees after Mars, that would be 6 degrees Libra. So instead of being at 2 Scorpio, if he moves to a place that puts his midheaven back at 6 Libra, he will succeed in his social programs.
Could we see his treasure map?
Yeah, we can look at a map to see where that happens. So what we'll do is we'll go to maps. Let me just put it back to, well, it's okay, I can leave it sidereal, it doesn't matter. I'll go to maps, I'll go to Astro Map, I'll go to treasure map. Well, there's a few things I can do, actually. I'll show you the treasure map, and I can do the detailed friendship and family map. This will show all of the planets. When Mars is 40 degrees from the Lagna or the midheaven, it's not super, super sweet. It's a place where you get things done of a community basis. And that's what we're interested in with here. So I'm going to select United States just to limit it and to see better detail. And we'll see where Barack Obama can get things done. And also there's a way where we can look at just Sun and Mars if we want to.
Okay.
Because this gets a little overwhelming. There's so much going on.
Hey, look what he did in Chicago.
So in Chicago, he's got the moon trine. He's got a lot of things going right near Chicago. A lot of ninth harmonic emphasis. I'll show you another little trick. I will right click and we can select this thing called an Asteroids Map. I'll just select this, we can show this later. And I can just look at just the lines of the ninth harmonic. I'll check only noviles. Noviles is another word for Navamsa or ninth harmonic. And I'll leave conjunctions and oppositions. And now I get not so many lines, so I can see things more clearly. And I can look for Sun and Mars. If I want to see only Sun and Mars, I could right-click, go to Customize, go to Select Asteroids, and I'll unclick the other points. I'll leave Mercury in. I'll leave Jupiter. Well, no, let me just do Sun and Mars. I'll just do Sun and Mars. I'll uncheck these. So I've got only Sun and Mars, only noviles, conjunctions, and oppositions. And now I see only the places where his Sun and Mars are active. So Denver, Colorado. If Obama works in Denver, Colorado, his social programs will succeed there.
Okay.
Seattle, Washington, Sun and Mars. Portland, Oregon. Right in here, Seattle, Portland. San Francisco. These three places, his social programs will succeed. And St. Louis, Minneapolis. So these are all places where New York City, right in New York City. So these are places where he's going to succeed. He'll get a lot of votes. He can campaign there. I mean, this tool is fantastic. And you see, if you get advanced with the software, you get used to it, how you can right-click, change the settings, and pull out just the things you want to see.
Right.
David, this is without a doubt a major gift to the astrological community for research. We have to start making this tight.
Yeah. Yeah.
No more stories around how it feels, or we could make this one fit.
Yes.
Fabulous.
I agree. We need to really tighten up our astrology and see what really works rather than fudging things and having the tools to explore. And so what we've done with this software is it also has all the standard Vedic stuff as well, and all these creative ideas. So it takes a lot of people. I'm not the only one creating the software, but we all work together, and that's why I'm making the videos. Because if you just have the software sitting on your computer, you won't know to do all this stuff. So we need the videos, and this kind of video where you two are interviewing me and asking questions. This is even better than me just monologuing, right?
I'll ask questions for a long time.
Well, you guys are great. I mean, because you're asking the question, you're drawing out the information, and it's more exciting this way. This is fantastic.
David G, this thing, because I do not know the history of Obama and his work in USA. So, which state was he more active before he became the president? Like his community work or?
Yeah, he was in the Chicago area, in Illinois, up here, which does not show up as one of these superpower lines.
Okay.
So these are just places where you can get a especially powerful effect. He also did not have consistent success in Illinois. I mean, he had a lot of success, but it was not an easy ride. I mean, he had to fight to get his programs approved. There's some corruption in the politics in the Chicago area, and had to deal with that. So, you know, but these are areas where these lines are where he would have an easier chance for breakthroughs. You know, all these places, Denver, and so on, much easier time. And New York, which is, of course, a major metropolitan area right there.
You know, can we use treasure maps to find out those presidents or politicians that were assassinated? For example, John F. Kennedy, Dallas. Would it ring a bell with the treasure map technique?
You can, to some extent. One problem we have with John Kennedy is we're not entirely completely sure of the birth time. Now, one problem with this technique is you have to have a birth time from a birth certificate, because it's using those Kendra house cusps, you know, the Lagna and the midheaven, and they're very dependent on birth time, of course. And what happens is if the birth time is off about 4 minutes, the cusps move about 1 degree, which on average is 50 or 60 miles, you know, 80 or 90 kilometers, and it moves. So you have to have a very accurate time. And the problem with John Kennedy is we're not entirely sure of the birth time. So, yeah. But yes, you can see areas. If I right-click and you go to Treasure Map, this one, excitement and instability, that's kind of a nice word for it. This is where you get into a lot of accidents. I had one place I went to near Washington, D.C., where I was there on a holiday, or we say in the United States, vacation, with my family, and I almost attacked twice while I was there. I've never been attacked anywhere, but within 2 days, people were just kind of assaulting me. And I went home and I looked at my excitement and instability map, and it goes right through there. So you get these accidents and, you know, things like that happen in these places. Yeah. Love and, let me just mention one more thing. This love and romance. I can tell you some very funny stories about clients, and we told them to go to places, and it really works. It's amazing.
Yeah? Could you open my horoscope again? I would like to know.
Okay, let's cancel out of this. Let's go back to Sunil. It remembers the charts up here. And let's go to the Astro Map. We'll do it for, you want it for India?
Yeah. Or world. I mean, it's okay.
Okay, we'll do, you know what I'll do? I'll zoom out. So I'm zooming out. I'll catch this part of the world here.
Okay.
Because you can see, we can do the whole world, but it's hard to see the details. So we'll do this, excuse me, this part of the world, love and romance. And click OK. Now it takes a little while. It takes about 5 seconds. There, it came up to see this. That's a little hard to see, but here's India. This is Venus-Mars midpoint. Now, another thing we do are midpoints. I'll have to come back and talk about midpoints. So this is a midpoint going right here through the central eastern part of India, just east of Madras and up in here. So you can also get the quality of the romance. So Venus-Mars is very passionate, very like tangible, very physical. Venus-Jupiter it's romantic, but it's more Jupiter, having fun, richness, a good time, coming here through this western part of India. So this is a good area. Here's Bombay, which is picking this up a little bit. So when you head up the coast and to the west, and in here you get even more of this Venus-Jupiter, which in Vedic terminology we could call Lakshmi, you know, this kind of wealth or richness of Venus, Venus-Jupiter. So, but you were born in Bombay with some of this Venus-Jupiter, so that brings you some well-being into your life. And is this where did you continue to live in Bombay? Yeah. So you live here, which is good. And as you head slightly west, you pick up in this whole area, you stay with the Venus-Jupiter. So you have a life with some well-being, the Venus-Jupiter.
Okay.
So.
Do you see any line going on Thailand?
Thailand. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click. I'll select Thailand. And I'm going to just do Adjust Lines Map because it comes up very fast. There it is. So here's Thailand. Is there any particular place, Bangkok?
Bangkok has been bad for me.
Okay. I can see why already. Well, you have a Saturn semi-square to the west of Bangkok, a Neptune quincunx. You have a lot of Saturn-Neptune energy. Look at this, Saturn, Neptune, Saturn, Neptune.
Okay.
It's all Saturn and Neptune. It's a great place for seclusion, for a retreat. You could go to a meditation and or spiritual development. Like an ashram kind of situation. It's all Saturn, Neptune. Not so good for business and these kinds of things.
Okay. In fact, that's what I did. First time, that was last year I went with family, wife and kid. This time I went alone because I wanted some spiritual peace and some thinking and, clearing my head. And I especially went to Franang Cave Beach. That I do not know where it would be here in Thailand actually.
F-E-R-N?
No, P-H-R-N-A-N-G.
P-H-R-A. Oh, here it is. Franakan?
No, not this one. Not.
Okay.
How do I?
All right. It may not be here, but anyway, you can type in the place. And I'm not seeing it here, but anyway, it's probably here.
Okay, I'll just. It's Krabi. That's more broad. K-R-A-B-I. Krabi.
K-R-A-B-I. Okay, Krabi, Thailand. Now what I can do is I can select that place, and I've got checked here, display this place in the map, and it'll put it right in the middle. So there's all these wonderful little things you can do, and it should be, there it is, Krabi. So it's way down here on, and it has a Mars and a Pluto. Another thing we can do is we can actually click on the place, and it will show all of these angular distance things going on and what they mean.
Okay.
Holy tomato.
Yeah. So it's just wonderful. So what you have here is descendant trine Pluto. It's kind of a karmic sort of feeling. You're drawn there. There's some creativity. I
landed up working in my vacation. The whole day I was working. So that
you ended up working there.
Yeah, I landed up working. That was the problem. But so that professional thing which you wrote about.
Yeah. It is an inspiring place for you too. Neptune,
Yeah.
Pluto.
Yeah.
You get very, very inspired. It is a good vacation spot. Maybe if you go there again, you might have had transits at the time also that were inclining you to work. But it could be a good, inspiring place. I often recommend these Neptune places for vacations because we often go to vacation to unwind and get inspired. You know, see the beautiful sunset, see the night sky, you know, go in the ocean, see the beautiful water. You know, we want to get inspired. We want to get away. If you go there at the right time, I think it could be good.
Yeah.
But you have to get the time and the place.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So actually, treasure maps can be used. I mean, people can contact you if they want to go to their honeymoon. They can contact you and ask you, please advise which is the best place to go.
Yeah. Now, I've trained a lot of my students and they've graduated from my program because I'm so busy doing software development and making videos and doing research that I don't do a lot of consultations. The main consultations I do are people who are in crisis, you know, something like that. So I don't do a lot of consultations myself, but I have my students who have perfected this as well, and so they do it using these techniques.
That's great. That's great. I really feel inspired with this treasure maps, and thank you so much, David G. Phyllis, any questions?
She'll keep us here for 3 days with questions.
Yes. Well, I'm possibly later we could see how the business, the professional lines would show. When you first opened, you had President Trump. His chart was up first. I would be very interested in seeing how the treasure map applies in his chart. Just a basic curiosity and nosiness.
Yeah, this is fun. So I've just pulled up Donald. You see how fast you can do this? I just go ahead, I type Trump. He's in there. I'm already in the treasure map. Let's do it for United States. We can do it for the whole world, but when you zoom in a little bit, you can see in more detail what cities there are. And we could do his vocation and career in the United States.
And then the excitement and instability.
Oh, that will be very interesting because he's an excitable person. We can,
yes.
Whether we love him or hate him, we can agree about that. So.
Yes. So,
well, here's all of his energy for work and career on the East Coast.
Yes, and that's
we're not surprised because all of his stuff is East. He's in Florida. Look at this. He's got all this stuff. He's got his place in Florida. Sun, Jupiter. Oh, this is amazing. Sun, Jupiter. I get chills just looking at this. It just amazes me.
Yeah,
the Sun, Jupiter midpoint going right on the east side of Florida, where he's got his Mar-a-Lago or whatever you call it, his big palatial place where Sun, Jupiter, big.
Yeah.
I mean, take Donald Trump and put him in Sun, Jupiter land, and he thinks he's the king, right? So
now, am I reading this correctly? When I see Mars conjunct line going through Washington, am I reading that correctly?
Yes, you're reading it exactly right. He has Mars conjunct the ascendant going exactly through Washington, D.C.
So he'll fight in Washington.
He'll fight, exactly right.
And I guess that's what he's been doing.
That's what he's been doing. And, you know, that's interesting because when he became president, I thought that he's very human. You know, he's not like a cardboard figure.
Yeah.
And he was a Democrat at one time. And I thought, you know, he barks a lot. He's like a dog that barks a lot. But I figured down deep, he's a human being. He's a nice guy. And I've been disappointed, you know, with these race riots and things. I thought he would come out and be a human being. And I've been disappointed that he's been hard. He's been, you know, just like a military guy
Yeah.
And I thought his human side would come out.
No,
and
that hasn't arrived yet.
Yeah.
Could you see his friends and
friends and family?
Yeah, friends and family.
But I just want to say, all of this, he has a lot of property and business all in this area and into the Midwest, and that's where all the, it's just amazing. So let's look at his friends and family. And these are his places, sweet spots, where he's comfortable.
And here we have Florida again.
We have Florida again, where he's got a tie to Florida for some reason, and there it is. And he's got 2 lines coming right into the southeast Florida.
Yep.
And it's a second home for him. And it's just very interesting how that happens.
Certainly is validated.
Could we also see career for Russia, India, Pakistan via Donald Trump horoscope?
North Korea.
Oh yeah.
Yes, Korea.
Let's do North Korea. And you know what we can do here? We can just do the just lines map, and then we can just click on it. I'm going to just do this just lines map. And here's Pyongyang. Holy smokes, he's got a whole bunch of things going through here.
Ooh.
Well, we can just click on it and get the interpretation and the details.
Oh, look, that's a Saturn line.
Yeah, these are a lot of the 7s and 5 vibrations. Well, it's quite interesting. He's not particularly aggressive there. He's more of a, well, very strong midheaven triseptile Mercury, attending school, conducting research. I think he's going to be more measured, more thoughtful in his responses to North Korea than he is to other places. Thank God, right? Because the last thing we need is another world war, right? Yeah. So he's going to be a little more thoughtful and sensitive. He's got these septiles, which are septiles. The 9 is the Great Mother. The septile is training and maturity. Well, we'll be here all night. We've got a lot to cover, but yeah, we're getting some good ideas. So we'll see that and so far he has been a little more, well, he spoke out a little crazy once about North Korea, but he does that with almost everything. I think in general he'll be a little more measured and thoughtful.
Yeah.
And may even negotiate some things. Yeah, it looks good to me.
Did we look at that in the United? Yes, we did. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, it's so much new information, right?
Yes. May we look at his business?
Business where?
In the States.
In the States. Okay, we did that. That was
Forgive me.
Yeah, that's the whole big emphasis on the east side of the U.S.
That's correct. Right. That's correct.
So what are we at? We're about an hour now, I think, or so.
Yeah.
This is wonderful.
This is wonderful, David G. Thank you so much for your time, and really appreciate how you have patiently taught us, especially to me, because for me this is difficult. So I'm asking some stupid questions. I hope you did not feel bad.
No. You're between the two of you, this is a great trinity we have here. This is great because when you teach, you're so used to it, you don't know, and so you guys are asking just fantastic questions. And it's fun. This is just great.
Thank you so much, David G. With folded hands, we welcome you. Thank you, and we welcome you again on Saptarishi Astrology. And what I was thinking is, for the next topic, is something called midheaven. That is so crucial in Western astrology, but we do not use it in Vedic Math. You know?
Yeah.
So if you can show some what is midheaven, how transits to midheaven are important, with some example horoscopes, or which particular transits are extremely important, or planet posited on midheaven in the natal chart.
Yeah.
You know,
That's a great idea. That's a wonderful idea. I could start off just by talking a little bit about the astronomy of it.
Yeah.
And that helps bring it home, you know, why it's so important. Yeah. I think that's a great idea.
So for the next session, if we can have that, it will help a lot of Vedic astrologers or Indian astrologers to understand this very big important point of Western astrology that we have been ignoring.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. It's a really good idea.
Thank you
Okay,
so
my
much.
friends. Thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you.
Namaste.
God bless you.